That's all good.
Yeah, yeah.
Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Ask Jim on a very cold night. We're up to episode 62, and it's a freezing night. I don't know how cold do you reckon it is at the moment, Jim?
It's actually, well, this useful little app on the phone tells me how cold it is here, and
A nice sunny Mooroolbark in Melbourne here.
yes, it's cold. We don't have heating on at home.
No, definitely not.
I'm very environmentally sensitive. So 10 degrees.
10 degrees at the moment, but it's a lot. I tell you what, it's a lot colder
That's
in
why I
here.
got a coat on.
You're very smart.
These guys with their cosy, warm offices, they don't need such things.
I've got to be on brand. I've got to have the gym shirt, which from behind the thing.
Yeah,
So let's get into a few things real quickly. So if people didn't know today, we had the Jim's Monopoly posted on a really big pop culture site called Lad Bible, which is around 2 million followers. So orders went gangbusters in the last hour,
Yeah.
which has been great.
Due out when?
Due end of May. So it was supposed to be end of April, and that was what was happening. But with all the current circumstance, end of May, which is understandable. Mother's Day as well is coming up on Sunday. So people have been watching our stuff. There's a lot of Jim's cleaning ads with Hader Hussein being the actor as well, starring in the commercials, which were cool, which our team did. And so Mother's Day, get yourself a gift voucher or a bear, even better. Why not? A Jim's bear for gift Mother's Day.
Give your mother a bear for Mother's Day.
Why not?
This is appropriate.
Why not a Jim's bear or a gift voucher, gift of time?
Well, a gift voucher would be great. I think come have your house cleaned for nothing. That would be fantastic.
Mode, antennas, whatever it is, it can be
I'm
used
not
in
sure how many
everything.
mothers want a bear.
Why not have a nice cuddly bear for the kids or something like that for the mum? Get a Jim's bear as well. And we obviously have the books here tonight as well. So let's keep going to the show. Let's talk real firstly quickly about the COVID app as well. COVID app was released. Had 2 million downloads, you're saying. Have you downloaded it yourself?
Yeah, I have
Yep.
downloaded it. I don't understand people why they don't download this thing. It's first of all, they've promised to keep it secure, and I guess they'll do that. But the other thing is too, what on earth do I care what the government knows about where I'm going to? I mean, I'm not going to go out have an affair or go and buy crack cocaine or something. So I really can't see the danger of it. I can't.
Well, they know where to find you every
comprehend.
Wednesday night, 7 o'clock. They know where to find you if they've been watching it. They know
That's
where you
right.
live.
If
It's all
the
good.
government wants to know where I am, well, I'm right here, and you can track it on my phone if you wish. I really don't mind.
And I think that the important thing is the more downloads, the more we can get back to maybe some normality, I guess, with the
Yes.
restrictions. So
Yeah, look, it's hurting us a lot. A lot of people, and I mean, personally speaking, this crisis isn't too bad. But I really feel for my franchisees who are out of work and just struggling like anything, particularly individuals like test and tag and building inspection. So let's get back to as soon as possible. And if downloading a simple app, which takes a couple of seconds, can help I'm happy to do it.
Also, the amount of CCTV that's out there now, the amount of CCTV
Yeah.
online and satellite imagery.
And they have facial recognition and all
Yeah.
kinds of things too. Let's. No, but I reckon these privacy people have got a point. Let's make the world safe for criminals. So.
And what about a general update on COVID in the group so far? I know we didn't do a podcast this week because there wasn't much movement. We'll probably do one next week about it. But
Well, it's going pretty good. I mean, our new infections are down. There's been something like 80 deaths, which is pretty good. I mean, most people would have died anyway, probably. So it's just not a terrible thing. One of the main problems with it is too that people who need treatment for other illnesses are not going in there. So you may actually be increasing the number of deaths by locking down.
What about in relation to the gyms group as a whole? Has there been many updates with divisions, or what do you?
Leads seem to be starting to pick up.
Right.
Cleaning's had a very good week. The last week, it's gone up significantly compared with the past. I mean, mowing goes quieter in the winter when you get this kind of weather. It's not great for mowing, but look, on the whole, it's leveling. April's going to be the pits. That's my prediction. Next month, about the 11th, they're talking about lifting some restrictions. Money's going to people's accounts from the government. I think we're going to see a major upturn. I think the worst of it's past.
Let's hope so. So we've got around 100 people watching tonight, which is great. So thank you for joining us. So we'll get through the comments now. So Eric Jurgens, hey guys, hope that you liked my picture today, Joel. I'll just show it to Jim real quickly. I've got a picture on Facebook from Eric. While I do it real quickly, he sent me this one here. Just showing it to Jim, your picture, Eric. Not many people will be able to see it on the screen. Then he goes, would you like to hear a joke? Absolutely, type it in there. Then Dave McDonald's got Marge, the rains are here, from the old ad. Let's see, we go. Good, me too. How about you get Jim to tell one of his best again? We'll do the joke at the end, Eric. No problem. Haydar's gone, hi, gents. It's nice and Murrabak is cold. Happy to be home in front of the fire. Don't rub it in, Haydar. He's got a nice fire that he's sitting in front of. I wish we had one here. Okay, Constant has gone here. Hi.
I must say, our stove at the farm is really, really nice. It's an open, like an enclosed thing, but with a glass front, and you burn the wood in. It's just magnificent. Sit in front of that.
And I remember talking to Haydar today about the offer, the generous offer he made last week for anyone who was watching, the $1,000 for you to go and mow his lawns.
Well, wait till it's a bit finer than this weather.
When we're allowed to, absolutely. So maybe 3 weeks or something like that we're going to do it. I think it's going to be great. So to have $1,000 is a very generous offer, and it'll be all to charity as well.
Yeah.
So 3 to 4 weeks. And anyone who's asking about the bin isolation, we haven't had the time to do the bin isolation thing with Jim this week, just because of the weather. Remember the dress up and take the bin out? We're going to get you to dress up as the original Jim. We are going to do it though, and we're going to get that one soon. So real quick question in order, Constant from one of the other pages. Hi there, how much to do the lawns? Question mark. How much to do the lawns? We don't do flat fee or set rates, do we?
No. If you're asking me how much the Jim's guy takes to mow a lawn, I don't know. I mean, it could be $40, 50, 60, depending on the size of the lawn, what city it's in. I know Sydney's a bit more expensive. Regional centres are less.
Did you tell people why we don't do hourly rates, or why we don't recommend they do our quote on hourly rates?
We don't like hourly rates because our guys tend to be very fast and efficient. You can pay somebody $30 an hour and it'll take you 3 hours to mow the lawn. That's a lot of money. Our guy might be charging $50 and do it in half an hour. So it's $100 an hour, but it's a better deal. We've done the same thing ourselves, actually. Yeah, you just find hourly rates are a terrible idea. Also, clients are a lot less happy about hourly rates because you don't know how much is going to get done. If I say I'm going to mow your lawns and I'm going to do the edges and I'm going to dig over the garden bed, take rubbish away, that's the price. That's it. You know how much. But if you do it per hour, you say, well, I expect more to be done. Yeah,
it's an interesting one because I see that comment all the time on the inbox. Can we get an hourly rate for this, or can we get an hourly rate in the comments? And
from a franchisee's point of view, I really hate it the most because you can't do the amount of money. Because people are wanting to compare hourly rate. You'll do it for 40, you'll do it for 30, you'll do it for 20.
But then you get a bad job from the 20.
You do a bad job. I see it all the time. People get a cheaper price and they send a complaint in on the survey, but it wasn't house guys. They got somebody cheaper. It happens all the time.
You pay for what you get for, right? Quality. You pay for quality with gyms, and that's what you get. Wayne Bosch has gone here back mowing in NZ, crazy busy. So let's talk about that. Maybe mowing in NZ or NZ in general is open.
Yeah, wonderful. Because they've been locked down for a month, so the lawns have gone berserk. So they're very, very busy.
That's exactly what he said. He's been flat out. But it's great to hear the NZ is going back again because they were shut down for 3 to 4 weeks. So.
Yeah, just started up yesterday, I think.
Yes.
After a month.
So you can start taking. If anyone's watching from NZ, they can all start taking work again, cleaning. Dog wash, mowing, all the franchisees over there.
I mean, it's a bit late now to talk about it. I really think it was a foolish thing. They've had the same, actually per capita, they've had more deaths than Australia, and yet they blitzed the economy so bad. What on earth did it help to have our guys not able to mow lawns for a month? It just made no sense at all. You cannot get infected or give infection when you're mowing lawns to somebody. It just doesn't make any sense. But anyway, at least they're back now.
It's great to hear they're back home, especially the test and tag guys as well. I know doing it tough.
Yeah.
Jody McKenzie, after our meeting with Kate and Dale the other week, I had my intro day with Anne from Jim's Dog Wash in Traralgon.
Yeah.
Had a wonderful day and can't wait to start my new beginning with Jim's once finances sorted. That's awesome. So Jody will be a new dog wash franchisee.
We've got a lot of interest in franchises lately, actually.
Mm.
Some people are a bit holding off so they see exactly how things are going, but there's been lots and lots of interest. And I think because we've got work and much of the economy is in so much trouble, it's actually going to be very attractive.
Yeah, and I think that feeling of being made, like it's a horrible feeling I can imagine of being made redundant.
Yeah.
That feeling, if you want to avoid that again.
Well, most of our guys just sailed through the crisis. They really have. There's a few divisions that are temporarily on the nose a little bit, but they're going to get very, very busy in another few weeks when things start to pick up, like test and tag and so forth.
Yeah, they're going to be in a great position, we hope. They're great, and hopefully the work will just start flooding in. They'll be going too busy again, and away we go. Matt Barsconi, hey Jim, how would you characterise your political ideology / views? Also, are you thinking about writing another book in any time in the future? I've read Biohistory and found it very compelling. Also, shout out to Joel for always being a good host. That's very nice. I don't know who I paid you to write that, Matt, but that's very nice.
Yeah, well, my political views are all over the place. I'm fairly green in terms of wanting to reduce carbon emissions and stuff, but I like I'm very conservative, sort of morally speaking, I suppose. I find it very offensive that some of the things that have been put forward, the way children are taught things in school against what I fundamentally believe and why you don't have any choice about such things. And also populist. I think that we could do a lot more to make society more equal, not by giving power to the government, but by doing things like having a carbon tax and giving the money back to the people to compensate the lower earners. So you actually control carbon emissions in a way that helps people who are worse off. I've got a lot of ideas like that. So actually, if you look at my book, which one is this? This one here.
Jim's book, yeah.
It's got a lot of these ideas in it. Because Catherine just asked me, and they're all over the place. But to a large extent, basically, I would say my ideas are looking at ways to make society equal and fairer and to help the environment, but also, to make it more equal while helping the environment and helping everybody to be better off.
It's a great question, Matt. You're in a running for that, actually, if you haven't got it, because that's a really good question.
If you like this book, if you haven't got a copy, we'll send you one. That's a good question.
And then he's saying, are you thinking about writing another book anytime in the future as well?
Yeah, I should. I've had it in mind for years to write up my political ideas. Maybe have a go at the Senate one day. Who knows?
I mean, you have talked about it before, haven't you?
I have talked about it.
Sort of.
I think there's some very obvious things that really bugs me. Some of the stuff that goes on that's so unfair, like the way that policies push up housing prices to make it unaffordable to so many people. It's so wrong. Very simple things like having a property tax on the land value, a fairly hefty property tax with a fairly.
They're looking at doing that. They're starting to look at doing that.
Well, that's what we should have done a long time ago, and that's pretty obvious. People like The Economist, for example, Magazine of The Economist, talk about this for a long time. It's a very fair form of tax. It's impossible to avoid. A person who's got a $5 million mansion got to pay a pretty heavy tax. Well, they can afford it. Otherwise, they wouldn't have a $5 million mansion, would they?
Correct.
But what about someone who wants to buy their first house? They should get a much, much better thing. They shouldn't be paying property tax. And the taxes, like stamp duty on salad houses, is very bad because it stops people moving to where the job is. So you're stuck there, you're unemployed, but you can't afford to move because it's too expensive. There's all sorts of problems with the way we do. There's very simple ways that we could help people who are less fortunate at the same time and help the environment and everybody else and make us all better off.
We've got a lot of content on it if you want to check out the podcast, but the answer is you don't sit left or right, but all of in this book here.
I'm all over the place.
All over the shop, there we go. And Dave McDonald's gone, only a fool will take off his parachute before they have landed. Can't remember what that was in context to. Eric Jurgen's gone, just wondering if there are any plans to hold the trade day still.
No.
If we that's a firm no. If we allowed, or has it been totally cancelled till next year?
No, we cancelled that a long time before the restrictions came into force. It was obvious that kind of thing was never going to be on.
Massive shame.
Which is a pity. It's a pity. It was great last year. We got like 400 or 500 people.
There's a lot of people, absolutely.
And we gave huge numbers of prizes because all the sponsors, it was a very lucrative thing. A lot of people won some very nice prizes.
That's a great day. It's very uniquely to Jim's.
Some people even came from interstate. They found it was worthwhile because the value of the prices was so much. It was great.
They did. Matthew Dwyer's gone, an interesting fact for you, mate. We've now exceeded last year's total rainfall in Victoria in the first 5 months of this year. It's going to be a ripper spring.
Well, I tell you what, this place is flooded just out there.
Yes,
It's
100%.
like that deep in water.
Yeah, Jim normally walks, so if you can't tell, but Jim normally walks the back down here, and I said to him, don't come down there because you might get flooded out. So, yeah, we'll keep going with that one, but that's quite interesting hearing that one there. John T. Pole's gone, hi, I run a garden business in South Africa.
Wow.
I have plans to immigrate to NZ. Has Jim's ever offered employment for people to get to work residency visas? It's a great question.
Well, the trouble is, you're asking to be employed. Difficult. We love South Africans. I mean, we've got a lot of South Africans working in gyms, and they do fantastically well. We wish we could get more of it out here. That's all I can say. But as to employing people, difficult, because we're basically a franchise company, and the employment is done by our franchisees. It's up to them.
Yeah, it's not set up for that. Yeah, it would have to be something arranged in NZ.
We ought to have more South Africans. They make very, very good immigrants, in my experience. Native English speakers for a start, and obviously often very business savvy.
Yeah, we've got a couple of really good South African franchisors. I know
Yes.
Manny Van Vuren over in WA.
Yeah, Manny's one of
and
the
Brian
best,
Adams, I'm
actually.
sure, is, I think, South African as well.
There's quite a few.
Yeah.
I like the accent, actually. It's your sister.
It is. And we've got one of our development team, South African, Peter Peters.
Yes.
So we'll keep, not at the moment, Jonty, but I'm sure you can talk to someone in NZ.
I've actually written to the Minister of Immigration via my local MP, basically trying to get a way of getting South Africans into Australia.
You have, yes? Because you play squash with the guy who's South African. Remember when we went down with you squash and he was saying about the immigrant scheme they had for the businesses.
I wish we could do more.
Thanks for tuning in, Jonty, and leaving the comment. That's really great. Dave McDonald, Jim, did you buy some oil at $30 a barrel? On the upside, diesel hasn't been this cheap whilst I've been with Jim.
That's amazing. What's amazing is they're actually paying people to take it away.
Yeah.
They've overcome because they can't shut the wells down because it's too expensive. So that you get paid. I mean, we should have our oil reserve. We really should. We should have massive oil reserve. I know we own some oil which is stored in America, but it ought to be stored here in Australia. This is the best time to buy it because it's so cheap.
Absolutely.
And then if we come into a crisis in the future when international trade breaks down or something like that, well, then we've got our own oil supply.
Did you buy some crude oil commodities? Had a bit of a...
No, I don't. I don't invest in anything except my own business. I know what I'm doing with my business. I can get a good return on investment.
There you go, Neil Simpson.
If I had any money to spend, extra money, I'd buy a Jim's region, a regional franchise. That is an excellent investment. In fact, my financial people did analysis, and they reckon buying up regions actually returned 38%, just as purely as an investment.
Not better than an ETF or some of those
Better than
investment
anything.
companies,
It's a really, really, really good thing. We're actually looking for, I shouldn't say that, I suppose, on this kind
We'll
of
leave
thing,
it.
We'll leave that alone.
Neil Simpson, hi guys from Neil at Jim's Mowing in sunny Nook, Auckland. So thanks, Neil. I think you're a first time watcher, which is awesome. Here we go. Samuel Warren, what sort of qualifications do the franchises have for cleaning my pool? They have a lot of qualifications.
They get trained.
Yeah. Massive amount of training. It's not just the 3-day generic. Brett Blair's got a whole system, and the Zors do as well. They do a lot of jobs. There's all these certificates and stuff.
They're
I'm pretty
very,
sure.
very well trained.
Yeah.
They're extremely careful because we're very sensitive to customer feedback, and if there's any suggestion that our guys don't know how to do something, that feeds back into the training course. But I actually personally read almost every complaint that comes through Jim's group every day. So anything that goes wrong, I pick up. About 1 in 3 of our clients respond to surveys, plus complaints. So we look at that very carefully.
And if you actually want to watch one of our pool care guys in action, Jake, who's in the back, did a day on the road with Neil. Nathan Seabrook, and they followed him for a whole day in his journey to watch it. So if you want to see his expertise, you can go there.
All these divisions like pool care, fencing, test and tag, all those kind of divisions with training, they're very, very carefully trained. Our training is the best because we get immediate feedback from clients.
Yes.
Now we won't, for example, in fencing, we will not let anybody from other divisions do fencing jobs for the simple reason that we have too many problems. But our fencers have very, very, very few problems. The training is so good.
It's a great training program. It's a full 8 weeks, plus there's a lot more off the Zor. There's a lot of supervised jobs. There's a heap of things. This goes for any division.
Ongoing support, and if something goes wrong, there's somebody there to come out and have a look at it. So, okay, you did this wrong, do this in future. There's remarkably few problems in those divisions.
Yeah, it's half the reason we changed the name to Local Expert, because they are experts at what we do. People just think it's slap a brand on something and away you go. It's definitely not. And our guys have probably, as you said, the constant feedback system. And it's annoying. You see these local independents going, what would this guy know? Well, the local independent, you take the risk with that. If he stuffs up your job, you
our
know.
guys are going to be trained so well, and they have to be. And we because we guarantee our jobs.
We
guarantee them from like a fencing job. A fence falls down after 2 years. If it's not done properly, we'll go back and fix it, even if the franchisee is left. So we have to know how to train people to do the job properly in the first place. Otherwise, it becomes very
massive cost to you, and it's a cost to you yourself.
Yeah. Well, not me personally. We have a warranty fund.
Right.
which is about $100 and $2,000 depending on the division. That's just paid once by every franchisee, goes into a fund which we manage, and any problems at all we fix up. And sometimes we even fix up jobs where the client's not happy but the franchisee's not at fault. And we really think, for the sake of goodwill, we've got to fix the client, but we don't charge the franchisee.
Well, let's keep going. Malcolm Bradley's in Test and Tag NZ saying hasn't picked up for him yet, so let's hope it does. Malcolm over in Test and Tag in NZ.
Yes, I don't think so, because they've got to get... The mowing guys are very busy, I know that.
Let's hope that Test and Tag picks up. And Sean Daly gone. Yeah, Sean Daly, thanks for tuning in there and leaving up the comments. Appreciate it there. Luke O'Neill from Mowing. Quite often I will have clients ask what my hourly rate is. I politely let them know what we try not to work on an hourly rate, and the guys that work on an hourly rate will tend to do a work of a lower standard and a slower standard and make the job last longer, therefore costing the client more money.
Yes.
Which is quite interesting.
Or they're not so skilled because they're competing on hourly rate rather than the ability to do it.
Well, that's exactly right.
When I was mowing lawns, I would be out there, I would timing every job, and I was going really, really fast because it was my time. But I only started to make money. In the early days, I used to charge per hour, like $1.50 and then $2 and then $3 per hour. And then when I started mowing lawns, and this is back in the 70s, I put most lawns $5, and that was great because I could do 2 in an hour. So I was making $10 an hour instead of $3. It was still a good deal for the client, and I got lots and lots of work out of it.
That's it. So thanks to that one there, Luke. And Luke was the one who offered the lady last week to have the job fixed up, which was a great one there.
Yes.
So we've got 90 people watching now, which is great. Make sure you share, like, or comment in the feed. We're getting through a lot now. Eric Jurgen's gone, I'm now saving over $75 per week on fuel while the price is down so low. Costco today has diesel 93
I bought
cents.
some fuel yesterday, and it was amazingly cheap. Yes.
It is, yes. Craig Roach tuned in and said evening. So g'day, Craig. I think he's removals. Then Jay Styles, how do you guys charge for the Jim's Diggers service as per mowing, not hourly?
No, never on hourly rate. If you actually worked out what the hourly rate that some of our guys work on, you'd be shocked. I've had clients complain to me that they pay me more per hour than their doctor. That's what I charge. I actually said to her when she said that, and I said, well, if I took twice as long, would you be happy? She said, yes. Well,
I think with all the franchisees,
you blowed for that.
They're trained to go out there and give you a proper quote on site, make sure you're happy with it, get it signed off.
Our aim is that every franchisee should be able to make at least $60 an hour once they get the hang of the job. That is the way we work it out, and we give advice on pricing at that. Now, some people charge in the hundreds because they're very good at what they do, and they do extras and all kinds of things, and and they have workers and they can make a lot more. But it should be at least $60 an hour. It's not worth doing that to be in your own business otherwise. I reckon it's just not enough.
Yeah, and the diggers guys would go up there and quote on site accurately and all that sort of stuff and walk you through it and give you a quote. Written quote always is what we recommend. Derek Spice, here's a great question. What made you change from agnostic to Christian? Just there you go, from quoting to that one. It's a great question, Derek. Thanks for that one.
Actually, a lot of it's to do with biohistory. It's looking at the way society works and understanding that Christianity had real value. I realised Christian values and principles were good, but a lot of it's look, honestly, I think I always had a hunger for God. I just didn't recognise it. I was fighting against it in a way. And then when I got to know some people back when I was 27 years old in the Christian university, I just got to talk to them. I liked them, and I went on a retreat, and all I can say is God spoke to me, and that's been the greatest thing ever happened. Along with meeting my wife, Lee.
No, that's the one. That's the first one. And this is close second, is it? Or yeah,
they're both up there.
They're both number one. Well, both 1A, 1B were both the same. Thanks for that question, Derek. That's a good one.
That is a good question.
Sarah Howard.
Happy to chat to you, Derek, about that anytime, Derek. I love that subject.
I'm the complete opposite, Derek. Sarah Howard. How do I get a quote? 131546 or gyms.net. Request a quote.
Yeah.
Franchisee will call you ASAP to discuss your needs.
Come out and see your job and give you a fair price. And you do not want to be, even for a client, you do not want to go for hourly rates. Let me tell you, I think, as somebody who deals with complaints all the time, hourly rates are the worst thing for complaints. I get so many issues when people do them, and I keep on saying, don't ever do this again. Never give hourly rates.
Yeah, I think you pay a bit more as a customer to get a quality job, or you're going to...
You'll even pay more because you don't know what you're going to pay.
Right.
You might think that somebody is charging $60 and somebody else to do the job and somebody else is charging $20 an hour. Well, that sounds good, but what if they take 5 hours?
True.
You never know what you're going to get.
True.
And what can we do if a client complains? Because what can we say? If it's a quote for a job, we can go and inspect the job and say, okay, this job isn't right, fix it. That is absolutely guaranteed. We'll get it done right. But if you haven't got as much done for the hourly rate as you think you should, what can we do? We can't help you.
Lee Hackett says, get out tuning in, so thanks there, Lee. Denise Taylor, here we go, this is a new one. Had an awesome day doing a bond clean today and managed to get Jim's carpet and Jim's pest control work too. Jim's cleaning Landsborough Beer. Oh, Denise and Peter, the new starters up, I think, in the Gold Coast. I think. So how good is that from Jim's Cleaning?
Yeah.
We're referring on other people, which we love. We love cross-referral for divisions.
We do too.
And there we go. And Dave McDonald's gone, I said -30. Oh, -30 he's saying for the barrel of oil. Bloody hell. It's crazy.
It is too.
Then Matt Barr...
It's like when people lending money to governments and for negative interest. You actually get less back than you gave them. It's incredible the way the world's economy's gone topsy-turvy right now.
It's full on. It'd be interesting to see what happens with OPEC. What's OPEC and all those things moving forward?
Well, they can't do it. The trouble is that they're trying to cut oil production by 10%, but there's a 30% reduction in people buying the stuff. I mean, it's just...
Well, the effect on the environment of the recent thing's been quite interesting. A lot of clearer skies in places like Delhi and Beijing and stuff like that.
Look, I feel sorry for people who lost their job, but in a way, international air traffic, people jetting all over the world is just very destructive of the environment, and I think unnecessary to a large extent. So maybe not all bad, mostly bad, but not all.
Matt Barscon, thanks for the in-depth reply, Jim. Regarding your political views also, I think it's great that you stuck to your initial ideas with biohistory despite the universities once thinking your ideas were too radical/unorthodox.
Yes.
It's great to hear that you did not compromise like so many people do to get a career in academia.
We've got a fantastic research program going. I was just speaking to my research head, Nitin, just now beforehand, and we're going to get some great stuff done next year. We're planning to put more money. I'm going to put $2 million in next year. And really, there's some fantastic studies that we can do and things that we can really developing treatments that could help people. And I reckon within a couple of years, I'd be surprised if we don't have something very practical from this.
Cool, and there we go. So let's look forward to that one. We'll talk more about that as we go. Shane Chancellor, another strong week here in my South Australia Hills cleaning region in Adelaide for Leeds, which is great to hear. Much stronger month this versus last year.
Good on you, Shane. Actually, a lot of it's got to do with the attitude of the franchisees, and especially the franchisor locally. You've got people who are making so much money in divisions like cleaning. They said it's the best time ever. And there's other people saying, oh, well, there's no work, it's scare. But there is work, there's fantastic work. The things like the disinfect service that Haydar put together is fantastic. And people are making a lot of money. You just got to be proactive.
Well, he's saying, looking very positive. Also speaking to my franchise these days, starting to pick up some clients that pause their clean due to the COVID-19 virus. Yes. And they also created the disinfect clean, as you said, the Jim's disinfect clean, which helps reduce those sort of risks, which has been going really well. And that was great because that was available to other divisions as well to do. John,
it's been a great thing actually. It's enzyme based. It's very safe. It's been specially formulated for gyms. It's a fantastic initiative. This one.
Let's keep going down here. Peter Wolseley, we could be here for hours now. Derek lol, in response to that agnostic verse. We could have went for hours, and I kept my tongue bitten during that one, Peter. So I just kept. I didn't want to go on with it too much. We'll keep because
I don't think we need to know why you're an atheist. But anyway,
no, you don't.
I guess it's the default these days, isn't it? Being the non-religious. It used to be, 100 years ago we were in the minority. Now we're the minority.
There you go. That's
great too. I like that too. When I give my talks, I actually throw out a few clues. I talk about going to church as an example and stuff, and then if there's Christians in the group, which they usually are, come up and say hello and we share.
Well, you say God bless at the end of your certificate presentation.
Yeah.
When you do it with the franchisees.
Yeah, I do. And it's great to be able to speak to. I love to hear from Christians. I know Shankar and Frank who run Home Fresh. They're very strong Christians, and we often talk about those things. It's a kind of a bond of fellowship, which is very intense. People who really have a strong Christian walk, we really bond with each other, and we have an instant understanding.
Steve's going, Jim Meahy's gone, hi Jim, my name is Jim. What a great name.
That is the right name. And you've got a beard. That's the thing.
I can't see exactly why. What gym service do people think you guys offer that you actually don't? I've been live streaming trivia with guess the fake gym service and need more ideas. So he does a live stream trivia. He asked us for a question and we gave him some ones. I think we've given him toilet paper delivery service was one.
Well, that was one. But I mean, there's a lot we don't do, like Jim's bathrooms. You think we should do that. We did it for a while, actually. My wife ran it for a while. Got plenty of work, but eventually got too busy other things. I mean, there's so many we'd love to do. Jim's security doors is one that we hope to start up shortly.
Yep, security doors. We get a lot of requests for those.
We had that in the past. There's so many divisions. I mean, you name it.
Roofing?
We actually had a list there about
roofing at the moment.
Roofing.
We don't offer at the moment.
No, I think we've got a couple of roofing people.
You sure?
There's not many.
There's not many for roofing's one.
Jim's floors, sanding and polishing. We've had that in the past. We'd like to get
concreting.
Concreting. That caused a lot of problems. We had to fix up the jobs. It cost me $100,000 to go through and fix the problems with that division. So, but lot of demand for work. Yeah.
They sound reasonable though in terms of them for your trivia. So you
We
can use
actually
them once.
sat down once and we've got about a list of 100 different divisions we'd love to do.
There we go. Matt Barr, this is a beauty of a question, Jimmy. You like this one? This is probably the question of the whole thing, I reckon. One more question, if that's okay, Jim. Who are your biggest academic philosophical thinkers? You must have read a lot of literature regarding your research for biohistory. Friedrich Nietzsche's work is incredible regarding disintegration of religion in the West and its consequences.
My great influences, people like Charles Darwin and Isaac Newton. Quite frankly, the great scientific systematizers, the people who brought a whole lot of ideas and thought of a theory that explained a massive amount of stuff. Those are my heroes. If you talk about philosophers, the carpenter from Galilee, Jesus himself, that's my guru. And I find the Gospels, particularly the Synoptic Gospels, that's as a guide to life is where it's at, rather than philosophers as such.
Yeah, I like Christopher Hitchens. These aren't philosophers per se. Christopher Hitchens is a journalist. Lawrence Krauss is a cosmologist. I reckon are great. They're really good as well.
There's a lot of good writers around, actually. But,
well, what are you listening to at the moment? You listen to a lot of audiobooks. What's one that you've been listening to?
Actually, what I'm listening to now is called The Bystander Effect.
Okay.
It's about why people do bad things and why others don't stop them, and the kind of pressures on them and the kind of ways that you can get around that. That's fascinating. There
we go. Denise Taylor says she's from Sunshine Coast. Sorry, Denise. I thought it was the Gold Coast, but Sunshine Coast. And then Luke's gone, Joel Landsborough is on the Sunshine Coast, not the Gold Coast. Thanks for the correction. I'll remember that now. Eric Jurgens looks like, I wish I was there at the moment, it'd be a lot warmer than here. Eric Jurgens looks like the government was right when they said they would meet the emissions target.
Yes, that's right.
Very clever point, Eric. That's a well. Why not claim it?
We do need to be concerned about such things. It's a funny thing. I've got a lot of fairly right-wing views, but people get very annoyed at me because I also think that we should, look after the environment and not put too much carbon dioxide into the air.
A very clever point there, Eric. Well done.
Yeah.
A fam's gone here, Jim. Now we've seen the effects of selfish, unprepared consumers panic buying and surviving temporary food and toilet paper shortages like now. Will you need to change the chapter in your biohistory book that addresses people working harder, getting smarter when things are tough? A fan. It's a great question. We've had some ripping ones.
I don't quite know what that means. Why I want to change the...
He's mentioning about, he's saying, now that we've seen the effects of selfish, unprepared consumers panic buying and surviving temporary food and toilet paper shortages like now, will you need to change the chapter in your biohistory book that addresses people working harder, getting smarter when things are tough?
Well, that's not quite the same level. Basically, tough times and food shortages and so forth tend to make people what I call higher C, which is more hardworking, more thrifty, those kinds of things. Like the effect of the Great Depression had on people who grew up in there. So you get that relatively conservative generation during the 50s, parents of the baby boom. So you get those kinds of effects. But, I hope there'll be some healthy effects on that. We're actually in the process of launching Jim's Preppers right now. And one of the things we're doing is looking at ways people can buy up in advance so you have enough food. I think everybody should have a year's supply of food. I think you should. Actually, we're going to put it out. No, we're actually going to have
I lose some weight, so I can see. I'll go for a couple of months.
We're developing this website, and when you can actually look and you can ask some questions like, how many people in your family, how many kids, how long do you want the supplies for, and what kind of grains do you like, what kind of legumes do you like? You like, wheat or rice or oatmeal, this kind of thing. So ask a few basic questions about your preference, and then it will give you a list of exactly what you need, basically for a year, to eat for a year, even things like laundry powder and dishwashing detergent, toilet paper. So you can have the whole thing, and you can either go and do it yourself, and we'll give you all the links as where to buy it and how to store it, or we'll do it for you. So that's the idea.
That's a calculation I know you'd be working pretty hard with.
Yeah, we've got all sorts of looks at things like the University of Utah does a lot of this kind of stuff, looking at how much food each person needs. Even things like having a wheat grinder, so you can store wheat and you can grind and you can make your own bread. This kind of stuff.
Yeah, I googled a little bit because we've got to do the logo design, but I looked up Doomsday Preppers, which was a famous show, and they had a lady, Doomsday Preppers, they had a pandemic lady on there in 2012. Yeah. Talked exactly about the situation, so that one's getting a lot more views now.
People should think about these things. I tell you what, it's actually, you can actually save money. That's the thing. If you buy in bulk, you've got there's plastic packaging and there's ships to the supermarket, but the fact of the matter, it's a lot cheaper when you buy in bulk.
Yeah, if you are 50 in nature, it's probably not a bad thing. We have posted how you did it online as well. So Dave McDonald's gone, the comment about the parachute was in regard to lifting the restrictions. America has over 1 million infected cases with 5 million tests and 56,000 deaths. We need another month of restrictions. South Australia has had no new cases in a week, so hopefully Vic can get there.
Yeah, but the interesting thing is the level of restrictions don't necessarily relate to how many infections there are. You've got different countries, like Sweden, for example, has got almost no restrictions. They just ask people they haven't shut down restaurants. They just said, be careful. Their actual death rate is less than that of many countries who've had much more tough restriction. Or Australia versus New Zealand, they've had much, much worse restrictions than us. They've really crippled their economy short term, shutting all their guys down for a start. Yet their death rate per head of population is pretty much the same as ours. So I think there's certain things like probably schools, for example, which have very little effect. So there's a lot of things we could open up. And then look, we're not going to be shaking hands for a long time.
Which you're going to be okay with?
I'm fine with that, and keeping a bit of personal distance. I like to hug my kids and my wife, but apart from that, I don't want to hug anybody. Thank you very much. So I'm not against it.
There's some very thoughtful comments tonight, which is great. So keep putting them in there and like and share the feed. It helps us out.
Very interesting. Actually, you see this thing about these Queensland researchers reckon they've got a vaccine which is causing a very strong production of antibodies.
Okay.
And they're looking to human trials.
So I know that there's
very promising.
Australia was involved in the cure. There's like 9 countries or something. Australia was one of them, and some other ones.
Well, I know they reckon they're going to be having human trials by December.
Very exciting.
By September, not December. So they're really.
How long is a human trial period normally? Is it 6 months? Is it or?
I don't know how long it's going to take, but it's promising. It's very promising.
Jim's mobile COVID vaccinations when it comes out, we can get it up and going. Gary Hitman's, this is a great comment. I tell my clients that no one goes to a restaurant and asks what's the chef's hourly rate is. You buy from a menu, or in our case, a quote.
Yes.
If you accept it, it's a mutual agreement with no
Good
hidden
point.
cost. Very good comment. I like that.
Imagine going to buy a TV and somebody says, "Okay, how many hours of work would you like to put into making it?" I mean, you're insane. I'm not going to buy. How much does it cost? I want to know what I'm getting and how much it's going to cost. Same thing should be any service.
It's a very annoying comment I get all the time on the inbox on the pages and other stuff is what do you charge for hourly rate and all that sort of stuff. Same thing we always give.
All I can say is that if you're asking for an hourly rate, you'll get an hourly rate, but you'll be really sorry that you did, almost certainly.
Peter Woolsey, has Jim put a deposit on Virgin Airline yet? On Virgin Australia.
I can think of a lot better ways to blow money if you're going to.
Jim Mee's gone, cheers guys, feel free to do a special guest appearance on my show tomorrow night, Jim. You do a trivia, send us through a link and I'll flick it to Jim.
Yeah, sure.
Jim, on your trivia show that you do. I know Jim is very smart.
Trivia show, you think I'm trivial, is that right?
No. Jim's very smart, so he might end up winning your trivia, Jim, so why not there, special guest appearance there?
Actually, no, it depends what it's about. Actually, when you're playing Trivial Pursuit, I like to play in teams because I can answer the history and geography and stuff, but I am hopeless at sport or entertainment or those kind of things. So I need somebody with a more up-to-date culture, and then we team up and I do all right.
I was going to say, there's the most watched documentary in the world at the moment is the Michael Jordan documentary. Have you seen it or heard of?
No.
Do you know who Michael Jordan is?
Yeah, I've heard of him.
Thank you.
Some sort of singer, I think.
No. He's a basketball player.
He's a basketball player. Michael Jackson, is that right?
Yeah, Michael Jackson.
I get the mixed up.
Michael, I'm glad you know Michael Jordan though, because that shows how much he's ascended pop culture. If you know, Jim knows Michael Jordan. It's a massive documentary at the moment. Recommend it. Shane Ganaway, sorry. Hi Jim, can we get a star rating reversed if we didn't provide service but contacted customer immediately? I received a 4-star from an unserviced customer.
Well, it depends why. It depends why. See, the thing is, a lot of people say, "Oh, I didn't do the job, therefore I should get a rating." But most problems actually come from what happened before you got there. So if it's the client says, "Oh, well, you were late ringing back and you were rude, or you didn't turn up when you said you will," I mean, you can get a pretty lousy star rating without doing the job.
He got a 4, so he's obviously maybe I don't know what was.
No, you can't get it because it depends on. It's basically the customer's opinion, unless there's something in the comment or that we can pick up. So, for example, if you get a 4-star rating and there's no comment, and your franchisor rings up and says, "Well, I just wondered what the problem was." "Oh no, he was good. He just too expensive." Bang! I'll change that to price.
Okay.
But sometimes people don't want that. They'd rather have the 4 stars than the price, which I think is crazy actually, because 4 stars.
Price is deleted from your record, right? Or hidden from your record.
Well, it doesn't show. All it shows is that you're in the.
Yes.
What proportion of.
It's an internal thing for the franchisee to know regarding their pricing.
There's no negative about price. In fact, if I see somebody who's very busy and knocking back a lot of work and he's only got $1 sign, I would tend to say, well, put your prices up. Try putting 10% on or 20% on your prices because you're too cheap. You're not getting enough knockbacks.
But Shane, you can email Jim as well if you want to. If you've got any evidence or something, your franchisor.
Yeah, mostly I just need evidence as to why. But if it was a price issue, then happy to change to a price.
There we go. Thanks for that one, Shane. Matt Barr, look what you've started. Poor Jim's head is going to explode now. Regarding it's a great questions, man. There were some rippers, some been really intelligent, most intelligent viewers tonight with the questions. It's been fantastic. Denise Taylor, have you ever been to NZ? Jim's hedging would be amazing. They have incredible hedges over there.
Yeah, well, the Mowing guys do that.
Over in NZ. Have you been to NZ? Have you been?
Oh yeah,
been New Zealand?
I love New Zealand. We went there Christmas before last on a cruise of all things. And every city we stopped at, my wife said, I would like to come and live here. It's a beautiful country. I've got to say, in terms of environment and landscape, New Zealand is going to be one of the most gorgeous countries in the world. It's just magnificent.
Definitely beautiful scenery. Steve Durant here, evening all. Hope lucky you went on the boat now. Steve Durant, evening all. Hope everyone going well. Business training going well. Hopefully come Monday start the 8-week training. Friends and families want quotes already. Good times ahead. So Steve's new fencing.
Yeah, in fencing you are not going to have problems with that. At least you'll be the first franchisee ever in fencing to have shortage of work if you do.
Now kudos to Steve because Steve's not even officially a franchisee yet, but he's very active in our Facebook groups and all that sort of stuff, which is fantastic.
Stuff. Yeah, well done.
And we encourage all franchisees to do that. If you are a franchisee, you'll see on the page.
And get out there and start working. Start employing people. We really want to get rid of some of these unserviced leads for fencing. It's embarrassing. More than half our jobs are being knocked back. So if you want to build a big business, fencing is the way to go.
We've already got a quoting pipeline already done. So the training is not even really, the 8-week training is about to start. So well done. Welcome aboard, Steve. Dave McDonald, Jim, I like steaks. So just to give men 365 Scotch fillets and enough potatoes for chips a year and I'll be fine.
I think you better buy a cow.
Buy an Angus for your backyard. Matt Barr, hey Jim, what do you think about the most misunderstood thing about you? Also, Joel, have you ever thought about working on some podcast interviews, great interviewing, facilitating skills? I don't know who this bloke is. I don't know how much I'm paying him. I'll have to send you a check after this or some sort of direct deposit.
The most misunderstood people think about me is people think I'm a lot richer than I am.
Yes, I can vouch for that.
It's really all my gold-plated Cadillacs and penthouses on the Gold Coast and all this other stuff I'm supposed to have. I think I'm incredibly rich. Even BRW, I mean, they should know better. They tried to get me to go down for the rich 500, and you've got to be joking. I wouldn't even be 1/10 of the way to where those guys start. But they think that I'm rich because I'm all over the place. But our actual most of the money goes to the franchisees, and of what they pay, most of that actually stays with the franchisors. And a lot of the rest goes off to the divisionals, and most of the rest is actually in, my vastly over staff like this guy. So only a little trickle that comes through, which considering the volume it makes me very comfortable, but all the same.
Yeah, no,
I'm a lot less rich than people think.
Number one comment I see on any ads we do for a franchise inquiries is why make Jim more of a billionaire than what he is? Why make Jim more of a millionaire? It's the one common thing.
I wish. I don't think Jim's is the directly a billionaire. If some of my research works out, and that could possibly do it, but
it could be, yeah, absolutely, if that works out.
I probably won't make a cent out of it, but if I did, if you could have a product that would actually cure mental illness and obesity and all kinds of drug addiction and everything else all over the world, if I could work out a way of getting money out of that, I might become a billionaire, but not out of Jim's. No way. There we go.
That's probably the most misunderstood thing. And for me, was it most podcast interviews? I've done a lot of interviews and podcasts with franchisors in the Jim's family. So if you go to our YouTube page, you can see it. I have my own one called Authentic Convos, which basically talks to people about mental illness and stuff like that. So that's my own podcast I do on the side. It's not more about people with mental illness, but more about kids and growing up in those scenarios as well. But we've done a lot of good interviews with Jim and the franchisors from our divisions, which is on the YouTube page. And the Jim does a podcast every week or every fortnight as well, which if you want to check out some more content with him, you can download. Dave McDonald, Sweden has had around 2,335 deaths and 20,000 cases, so maybe they'll need some more. I also heard the number of infected flu cases was down 7,000 due to this date this year. That's interesting.
But that's depending on how you count it too. I mean, in Sweden they count anybody who dies with it as dying from it. But in reality, a lot of people are very sick anyway, so it exaggerates. It's almost a rounding error on the world death rate, even in the countries most affected. So it's very hard to judge.
Yeah, it is. Well, I've got to get a flu shot myself. I always get one every year. I don't know if you had a flu shot yet. Do you get normally flu?
I hate injections.
You hate them. Here we go. We learned something new.
Really hate injections.
Do you get a flu shot every year or?
No, I don't.
You don't?
No.
Wow, okay. I always get one.
But now I don't have to shake anybody's hands. I'm not going to get flu anymore.
Lower risk. Then Dave Schultz has gone, Jim's Virus Busters. Absolutely. Jim's working on the... If
right.
absolutely, you could do it. G'day, Caleb there. Eric Jurgens. All right. It has now been 1 year since I've joined Jim's. It has been a wild ride and I've loved every minute of it. Never did I think that I would have ended up with my wife joining as well.
Great.
This year she has received 27 5-star surveys and only 1 5-star surveys. Thank guys for the great change to our lives. And Eric's wife's in Jim's dog wash.
Yes.
Ricky.
Yeah. So look, surveys are great. Actually, I know they cause some pain at times, but what they prove is that most of our franchisees do very, very good work. And I see this every day, and it's amazing to see it. It's positive. Complaints are basically negative, but surveys on the whole are positive. And most of our franchisees are very good and getting better. And getting better because when they do things they shouldn't do, like one of our major problems that we have is people who ring the client within the 2 hours, often within 5 minutes, and the client doesn't answer. What they've got to do is to send a text. If they send a text, the client sees it, no complaint. And if there is one, so it's that kind of thing, trying to get people to do those basic stuff. When you send a quote by email, follow up with a text. It takes like a minute, and it drops the level of complaint and lost jobs so dramatically.
And Dave Schultz has gone, Wingman needs to come back. Absolutely, Dave and Phil, you've commented a lot on these things, which is great. We appreciate your support. Dave McDonald's gone, all Michaels are the same. Hey, Jim Penman. I'm glad you knew Michael Jordan. I did not think you'd know Michael Jordan. Michael Jackson, there we go. It's a great one there. And some people are going, Jim needs Jim's Airlines to get me back to Adelaide. It'd be a great one. Jim's Antivirus Airlines. There's a lot of stuff going on here. Let's keep going down. Matt Barr needs to get a bear for his recommendations, Joel. I know. I've written Matt Barr's names down. Some fantastic questions. It's been great. Then Peter's gone, I must be running the comments, most be in the running for comments overall. Peter, there's a guy called Wade. Wade comes on, I reckon. He's not on tonight. 40 comments a week Wade's are done.
Okay.
And his books, and his daughter Ava's reading Jim's book at 11, which is awesome.
Good.
Then Jim's Mow Bay of Plenty Hawke's Bay. Can you hook up a mowing franchisee over here, Jim? Drop me a line. Can you hook up a mowing franchisee over here, Jim? Drop me a
I'm
line.
not sure what he means by that. It means he wants the service done.
Yeah, I don't know. Can Jim? Well, he's a franchisor. I think it's Daryl. Is it Daryl? Can you hook up a mowing franchisee? Email Jim at Jim's.net what you need there, and Jim will.
We're not quite sure what you're after.
Yeah, David's gone. Hi, Jim and Joel. G'day, David. Eric's gone. Jim, it really depends on how you measure wealth. Some might say that a man with no money is extremely rich with what he has in life.
Yes, yeah, that's right. Look, one of the most successful men that I ever knew, and I didn't met him, I heard about him, was actually the best job he ever had was a bus conductor. But he was a great father and a great pillar of his church, and he had great children. And to me, he was a huge success. Whereas, somebody else that I know of who owned vast amount of money, far more than me, who committed suicide because his family life was so stuffed up. Who's more successful? No other success can compensate for failure in the home. It just doesn't matter how much money you rack up if your personal and your family life's a mess.
Is that a quote you have, or is that something you've heard before?
That comes from the Mormon Church. That's what they say.
There we go. So, but Jim's Mowing Bay, Plenty Hawks as well. Leave a more comment there. We'll get to Jim as well with that one as well. Dave McDonald, Jim, you could stick your hand in the cast. You could stick your hand cast and stick it on a 1.5 metre stick. Then you could shake all the hands you want. So he's saying you do a cast. Yeah, that would be a bad one. Then go like that. Very good idea, David. Very good idea.
The trouble is, people might transfer infections through the cut. I reckon just a polite bow or.
You like the Japanese bows. You're a fan of that one.
Yeah,
and in the system, you bow the lowest, and everyone else bows with.
Or just a high five in the air, something like that. There's a lot of things we can do which is a lot less insanitary than shaking hands.
Air five. I wouldn't mind an air five. Seeing you walking around going like that.
I'm never very keen on it. I do a lot of it. It's just part of it, what you expected, but I'm never keen on it. If we could move away from that, good idea.
Dave McDonald, call, text, email, text again, and call again. Call the call centre and let them know that you have what have done. It's not that hard.
Yeah, he's quite right. But certainly text. People always they do not listen to their voicemail, but they rarely miss text. Yeah. It's just such a simple thing. You can do it in a code. You can put a little code PPP on your phone, so you just do it, bang like that. Jim's Jobs, the new version, will be doing that automatically before too long. But it's such a simple little thing. You spend so much time ringing in a client, but one little text. And all you got to say is, "Hi, it's Bill here from Jim's Dog Wash. Tried to call. Please call me back on so and so." How difficult is that?
And make sure you follow the manual, because when people challenge the complaints, if you follow the manual, you never have a problem.
The trouble is people don't read newsletters, which I understand because newsletters are boring, but all the same you miss out and stuff like this.
Dave McDonald's gone, where's Wade? Yeah, where is Wade, David? Wade's our most commented person all the time. Derek Spice has gone here. Wealth is inherently corrupting. You don't need to be rich to be happy.
Yes, you're quite right. And wealth can be incredibly destructive. So many kids from wealthy homes turn out so bad. Which is one reason. They do. They get spoiled. They get too much too easy. That's one thing I will not spoil my kids. Even if I want to live a luxurious life, I would not do it because I would not put my children through that. And most of my kids turn out very well. In fact, they're very economical. My 16-year-old daughter, Esther, she buys her clothes from op shops. And she's got several $1,000s saved up. She could buy a car for cash. She's a great girl.
Oh, good on her.
Yeah.
Well, you generally inherit it from your parents, right? So you guys are pretty...
My children are good savers. They really are. The older ones are all buying houses and stuff, and sometimes one is buying a second house, and they're hard workers, but they haven't grown up. They haven't been spoiled. I will not spoil my children.
Oh, good on them. Denise Taylor, how do we get the 5-star stickers for our business on our car?
Just.
But how long do you have to be in for to qualify? Because I think Denise is a newer franchisee. What's the qualification period? Is there like a period on it, or is it a number of surveys?
I think it's over a year. I think you just have to be over a year, at least 4.6 over the 12 months.
So it's a 12-month calculation, I think, Denise.
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah, and it's over 4.6. So 4.6 above 12 months.
Which is these days the great majority of franchisees.
It is. Then Wade Aston's back. So thanks, Wade, for tuning on, and good evening. Hope you like your book. The Matt Barr. Here we go. This is an interesting one. This Matt Barr's got some ripping questions. Hey Jim, how do you handle the balance between being in a business mindset and then a more academic, research-intensive mindset? Do you find it is easy to alternate between the two? For the record, not being paid by Joel, haha, giving credit where credit is due. I don't know, it's some ripping questions. From everyone's watching.
Business is easy because business is things always happening. I find it a breeze because you get people inquiring, asking from you. You have meetings, you give directions. I just find that incredibly easy. Academics is much harder because you've got to concentrate so hard on what you do. I mean, to do this thing here, what I typically do is get up very early in the morning and just write before anything else starts. But it's very intensive, difficult effort.
So in your day, you block out time only for that. You don't get sidetracked by anything else.
Well, these days I'm not really working on anything to do with biohistory except dealing with the research team because that's where the great promise is. I think if my theory can show that we can develop real treatments that are effective, I think people will start to take the work seriously. At the moment, it's too wildly far out.
And the actual, there's an academic version, isn't there? A lot bigger one than this.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's right.
So this is the light reading version, and the bigger version, which you can go to biohistory.org or gyms.net as well, and you can find it all. Then Wade's gone, he's sorry, was busy helping my fiance getting hammered with a bad storm here in Penrith. Absolutely, it's raining all over here. And then Wade's gone, how's Ava's hat coming along? So Jim approved a hat for you, Wade. I haven't forgotten about you. Flick me the address again, we'll get it to you. Here we go, Jim's Mowing Bay, Plenty Hawke's Bay. For when Jim's and his wife moved to NZ. I know someone who can hook up Jim with a mowing franchise.
Bit difficult because all my staff are over here. I have to try and start, unless they want to travel across the Tasman.
If you're not in Queenstown, I like Queenstown. Queenstown's beautiful.
I tell you what, I'm living anywhere else in the world except Australia to only be in New Zealand. I really do love New Zealand. I went there on my first honeymoon actually, and I've been back many times since then. I love the country.
If you need a franchise, the regional franchisors there.
People are good too. People are very Australian. They've got very egalitarian attitudes. Australian New Zealanders are unlike anybody else in the world, particularly not like North Americans who are very much more materialistic and money-minded, or people in England are more status conscious. It's a common culture which we share.
Yeah, my housemate's a Kiwi, so he's quite a good fella. But yeah, there we go. You can buy a franchise off him if when you move over there. Might not be in your region.
I mean, Jim's works better in New Zealand than does in any other country apart from Australia because we are so similar. It's that egalitarian ethos, which I think is a great thing.
Let's keep going here. Wade Aston, how's Jimbo going this evening? Has he applied for Jim's fencing to go into the Olympics yet?
Oh, yes.
Not a bad one at all. Eric Jurgens, Matt Barr, Paul Joel isn't used to praise. Jim keeps beating him down. Keep your chin up, Joel. LOL.
Oh, don't worry. He's got such a big ego, this guy. Can't
yeah, Eric had a comment last week saying you should stop picking on me so much. We didn't get it in there because it just ended. People he thinks are picking you.
No, I think I need to. Otherwise his head gets too swollen.
Yeah, don't worry. That's not the first time I've heard that from some people. Dave McDonald, what does Jim think will happen in the housing market? And can I have a 5-star sticker? Absolutely, David. You can have a 5-star.
You definitely be worthy of a 5-star.
Email national@gyms.net and I'll send it out to you.
Yeah.
What about the housing market? What do you think about the whole situation?
Well, yeah, there's going to be a bit of a correction at the moment, isn't there? But
do you think, like everyone's saying, everyone's a lot of scaremongering as you imagine, 50% drop and 30% drop, and
I heard some. It's potentially a 30% drop in the housing market. Look, I think houses are so grossly overvalued right now, particularly in capital cities. It's just stupid the way that house prices have gone up so much. It's so unfair. In the past you could buy a house with the 2 years' earnings from an average person. Now, who could do that now? It's ridiculous. And you can borrow money cheaply, but you still got to pay it back. I think it's appalling. So 30% drop would cause a lot of problems because a lot of houses would be underwater and people would be in real trouble. But I would be very happy to see the housing market stabilise and not keep on roaring ahead.
When all the banks get revaluations of the people who get all the equity and buy one, then get equity and buy another one, they're the ones.
Look, it's great for rich people. Honestly, people like myself who can afford to buy houses and they can see them appreciate in value, and then you buy other stuff. I mean, it's good, but it's so hard for the.
It's hard for the battler like myself, David. Absolutely hard.
Battler. How can you be a battler?
Absolutely, it's hard for the Aussie battler like myself.
Overpaid.
We'll keep going in here. Wade Aston, I want a 5-star sticker too. Wade, the only way you get a 5-star sticker is by being a Jim's franchisee. I don't think you are, so make sure you come along and be a Jim's franchisee. Fencing up in New South Wales or any other division, please do it. Yes. Dave McDonald, Wade, you need to buy fencing, buy a franchise. I hear fencing is popular. You just took the words right out of your mouth. Eric Jurgens, I'm thinking of writing a book on my life. Jim, how did it long to take you to write your books? ? I'm sure it'd be a quite an eventful life, Eric, with you. I'd read that one actually.
Ooh,
sure.
How long did it take me? Not that difficult really, because it's my own story. It's easy to talk about. There was a very early version done by a external publisher.
Yes.
And what I've basically done since then is just go through and modify it.
So that one there you solely wrote yourself? Everything was, or do you have a ghostwritten, or how would it work?
Oh no, not a ghostwriter.
Yeah.
I'm not a ghostwriter.
Yeah.
It's just me.
So how long did that one take you originally, you reckon, start to finish?
Like I said, there was an earliest version which was done by an external person, and I've just basically adopted that and modified it at times. I just go through it every 2 or 3 years and just update it and modify it. It's very easy to do though. To do something like that,
bless you,
compared with something like that is so easy.
Well, that's all obviously research, and obviously you have to cite things and whatever else.
Yes. Yeah. It's immensely difficult and challenging to do this kind of stuff.
And Wade, Wade, just make it easy for me. I get a lot of messages on inbox. Send me your address and I'll get you the hat. Jim approved that last week, no problem at all. Dave McDonald, Jim and Joel, who does your hair? David's asked that question. Who does your hair, Jim?
My wife. And it's overdue. I know I'm a bit shaggy right now.
A lot of people doing isolation cuts at the home, but Jim's wife always was giving her hair a cut, wasn't it?
The last time I had a haircut by anybody but myself or my wife would have been probably 30 years ago.
Really?
Yes, I remember because it was my third marriage. My then fiance wanted me to get a haircut before we got married. That was I've never done. What I always used to do was just reach up and I just cut off everything that sticks out.
It's a self-cut, didn't you? Yeah.
So when Lee first met me, she had the worst haircut she'd ever seen anybody have. So she's got this barbering kit and she does my hair periodically.
I'm lucky. My sister's a hairdresser, David, and she's a very good one. Or I go around the corner.
Well, Lee's a very good one too. You might know. I mean, she hasn't got much to work with. But of course, every year it gets a bit easier because there's less and less. It becomes a sort of a search and hunt sort of thing rather than a shaving off the thick locks I used to have. Yeah.
There we go. Dave McDonald's gone, pick on Joel all day. He deserves it. So David agrees with you, Jim. Keep picking on me.
Yeah.
Wade's gone, I think Muscles enjoys the ribbing. Thinks I enjoy getting picked on. I don't mind it. It's good fun. Derek Spice, I was going to buy...
Everybody's always having a go at me for all kinds of things, I tell you what.
Jim needs to pass it on. It's good relief. If Jim if I can be the punching bag for Jim, I'm quite happy to do that.
I catch it as well. People have got no respect for me around here. Isn't that right, Jake?
Sound like Rodney Dangerfield.
Just a figure of fun.
Sound like a Rodney Dangerfield. I get no respect. Have you seen Rodney Dangerfield, the comedian?
No.
I'll forward you a video of it. That was his one famous line. I get no respect, I tell you. That was his famous line. Yeah. Derek Spice, I was going to buy a fencing franchise, but the swords were really expensive. Nice joke there from Derek. That's a good one there. Then Liz has gone, hi from Jim's Dog West South Australia. Hi Liz, and thanks for posting your video, your photo. They've got a MG car, convertible, dog wash.
Wow.
It's a red one. It's a great marketing tool. Then David sent an email to you as International.
Yep. I'll
make sure we get the sticker out to you. Wade's saying, love the dog washes. Wade gone, I think I deserve a 5-star sticker because you love me. We'll keep going on there. Eric's gone, maybe your wife could look at my hair. I don't know, does Lee outsource her hairdressing skills? You saw Eric's hair today in the photo I showed you on air as well.
She doesn't even cut the kids' hair, actually. She even gets that done by a barber. But she just does my hair because I won't go to a barber.
Then David McDonald, Jim, how many complaints were there today or this week? Good question. We haven't had that one before.
I don't know, actually.
What's the average in a week? you reckon?
No, we might get, I don't know, 30 complaints a week, something like that. This is based on,
so low, isn't it?
most of them are out of surveys too.
Yeah.
They're not people who are ringing in to say they've got a complaint. It's not a lot. It's less than it used to be. It's really gone down quite dramatically in recent times.
Now, what do you think the reason for that is?
Oh, because of things like surveys, because of the pressure, which a lot of franchises get very upset about, I must say. They really do. I can't tell you how many times people have come back to me and said, Jim, you're hurting.
I hear it sometimes.
Mental illness and stress and everything else. And I always say the same thing. I say, yeah, but if you can't make enough money because there's no work coming through, that's a source of stress as well. And you've got to balance it. Yes, we don't want to upset franchisees, but at the same time, you've got to keep the clients happy so the work will come through so my franchisees will be better off. And we're pretty good at that, even during this crisis. We've got most of our franchisees are flat out. People panicking about the state of the economy and there's no work. And our guys have got more work, they can handle most of them.
And just to tell people, I hear it all the time when the franchisee might get pretty angry with you and you hear it on the phone. You do say the same, and that's this line you always will say.
I write it back. I actually write back again and again and again the same thing. I must have written the same statement 1,000 times. And I always say, Jim, you're a hypocrite. You say you put franchisees first. But therefore, if you really believe that, you'd stop bugging us with these complaints. And I said the same thing. It's because I put franchisees first that I stress customer service, so I'm going to keep you guys busy, because that is the one thing that's most important in giving you happy, good life.
And Hamoudi's gone here. Who mows your lawns at your place? Question mark. Who mows your lawns at your place?
Because they use somebody from the conference that comes over with the ride on.
Yeah, there we go. And used to have Eric as well, Jim's Mowing franchisee. Used to do stuff at your place.
No, he does.
He does, Eric. Yeah, it's a franchisee.
But mostly just gardening and stuff.
Yeah.
But he also actually last earlier this week actually he came in and slashed there's a lot of long grass down in our backyard. He got most of that down, which is good, and cleaned up a lot of the rubbish.
Now we've got a question from one of the other pages here. It's a customer complaint. So I'm going to read this out in full disclosure. I've recently had cameras installed at my house and are receiving multiple, sometimes 15 plus notifications at one time for no apparent reasons from my trip wires getting tripped. I had your guy now come over 4 times attempting to fix it, and the issue's still ongoing. How you deal with cases like mine having a high reputation for client satisfaction your company continuously claims?
We keep on coming back until we fix it. We can't guarantee that every job's going to be perfect the first time. That's not what a guarantee is about. We do our best with training and everything else and selection and everything else. But the reality of it is what we're guaranteeing is not that it's always going to be right, but that we'll do any amount of things to fix it, no matter what it costs. And if it means we've got to strip out the whole system and give you your money back, we've got to do it. It has to be fixed. That's what the guarantee is about. Not getting it right always. We'll do it whenever we can, which is almost usually. But if you've got a problem, we'll fix it.
So I presume that's Jim's security division who do CCTV and stuff like that.
Yes.
So what's the advice for the client? Just keep, hopefully...
Well, just keep on with it.
Right.
I mean, eventually, if people write to me, because they get enough complaints, they'll come through to me, and
Correct.
I will just simply write back, and I'll put an ultimatum and go and get it fixed. Get an internal person, get somebody else in to have a look at it.
Yeah.
Often we get an external expert in to fix it.
And then
There's just no limit to what we'll do, but you do have to keep on asking.
But the franchise are coming back out 4 times is the point, right? They're always going to come out till they can rectify the issue, but they haven't rectified it, unfortunately. But hopefully, it can be sorted out.
It's a tough system for a franchisee because you really do have to fix the client. In the end, sometimes they do actually end up giving the client their money back because they just can't fix it.
Correct.
It has happened.
If you don't get a resolution, it does get escalated to Jim. Is the point?
And it doesn't matter too. Even if the franchisee leaves, Jim's group is responsible. So the guarantee goes all the way to me. And I personally do with complaints.
But thanks for taking the time to write that as well and let us know. That's really good. Matt Barr, question for Jim and Joel. Matt Barr's writing some ripping questions. I know you'll like this one. Why do you think there is a disdain for working class blue collar individuals in this country? There is this idea that if you are a university educated, you're somehow better. Some of the smartest and most wise people I've ever known have not even completed high school, and some of the most conceited people I know are academics at universities.
Yes, I totally agree with you. I think there's this contempt, and it's not just Australia. In fact, Australia is probably better than much of the world. This contempt for people who work with their hands is just ridiculous. It just makes me quite angry sometimes. And I think so much of our policies, our government policies, are university educated people, in charge of things, setting the policies, in charge of all the stuff, taking over politics to a large extent. How many workers are actually in Parliament? How many people who work with their hands are actually in Parliament? Very few. They're mostly political operators right from the beginning.
Correct, yeah.
So, yes, There is that attitude, that snobbery, and it's appalling. And what really is annoying about it too is the fact that, you know, you go to university, you spend all this time getting this, and in the end you probably can't find a job anyway doing what you're trained to do. But somebody who leaves school at 15, or, you know, when they finish school maybe, and that goes out and works with their hands like a plumber, electrician, a mowing contractor, this is the salt of the earth. And it's a good career choice. I've always told my children, you don't have to go to university. Just do a good job, do a decent job, and care about what you do. But there's too many people being pushed into university education. You know, there's more law students in Australia than there are lawyers. I mean, we've got far too many lawyers anyway. So seriously, we do.
That's true. I did a law degree. It's useless for me. Don't worry about that. But I think that's a great comment. Matt Barr was ripping questions.
How much did
tonight.
you get from you did a law degree?
Yeah.
I wouldn't even know these things. I never know. I never look at degrees in anybody I employ. But how much use is that to you in your
Zero.
job?
I pretty much did it for my mum. So my mum probably forced me into it, and I respect my mum, so I did it for her. But I didn't know what I wanted to do. So
but you've done really well in gyms because you're interested in things like social media and marketing and those kind of things. And
insurance you get thrown into stuff and you give it a red hot crack and you come up with initiatives. So I think it's more about the character traits, which I didn't understand at first when you said you're hiring character, but I do understand now based on the book. Is those having a good go at stuff.
I can't always pick people by character, but I can look at what they do. And this is like when you came in and you did that first initial, which is a short-term basic admin job. It was a nothing job. And then that ran out. So you said, you did okay at that, so put you into insurance. And then you started looking.
It was a hard slog in that.
It was hard, but then you were looking at things. And I used to come in and talk to you,
yes,
and you were talking about the website and how it could be improved. And I thought, this young bloke's got something to it. So then we put you in another room in the office, and now you're one of the top managers in the company.
It's one of the reasons why I know most franchisees' names is because every single client card on the system I created, which was done on every franchisee. So it's one of the reasons why I recognise everyone's name.
And you helped with the automating of the system.
Yeah, I set up the automated system, and that was a really good thing. That was so I could stop doing all the client cards and all the manual policies. Really,
we don't have any firm division in gyms between managers and plebs.
No,
it's very
and
flexible.
plebs, managers and plebs.
Managers and plebs. Well, I use that term because people see it that way. But the fact of the matter is, somebody who's got any kind of ability can show their ability, and they can basically lift themselves up. There's no university track. We don't care about degrees.
And universities, let's put it frankly, they're to make money. They're billion-dollar businesses, right? And and the narrative sold in schools
there is
wrong.
Appallingly too much university education, especially arts degrees. And I should know. I did one and a PhD, so I know how useless that is from the point of view of making a living. I'm not sorry I did it because I wanted to follow a line of research, but that's a very different motivation.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. And as you said, so many doctors doctors are great, but lawyers and stuff like this, and it's just do something with your hands, and we hopefully can make the industry seem more sexy. It's sexy to go and live on your own terms and go and make money and take a holiday.
How much better is it to actually be out there with your own business? Now, maybe you're working physically, and people don't think that's so high class and hoity. You're sitting in an office with a suit and tie and a screen and so forth. But really, you can do incredibly well, and there's no upper limit to it. We've got so many of our franchisees that are millionaires and multi-millionaires because of what they've done in a way they could not have achieved if they'd gone the way they did. More than I could. If I'd have stayed in the academic, how much success would I have made in my life?
I've heard of guys making $250,000 a year with 5 people working for them. And I couldn't think of anywhere else they could do that. So
that's right.
Definitely don't thumb your nose out if you're thinking about having a go. Dave McDonald, I work in a fish and chip shop. We get complaints occasionally. We took them on the board and changed our practices to minimise that complaint. I only ever had one complaint a month, which is great. Then Wayne Bosch has gone, does the star rating actually have any effect on anything? Like leads, for example?
Well, yes, it does actually, because if you're below 4.5, you get a slightly lower preference, if other things being equal. Because we basically look at it territory first. Obviously, you get your territory if you want it. But after that, we look at factors like, first of all, how many leads you've had in the past few days. And then if they're the same, you look at how far apart are you. Well, if you've got a good star rating against somebody who's got a poor star rating, you'll get a slight preference in that area.
Thanks for that, Wayne.
That's
a good one.
It's not huge, but it's there.
That's a good question, Wayne. Denise Star's gone high, Jim. Out 12 year old.
A lot of it star rating is more to do with prestige. You get people who got like a 4.9 and they get a 4-star rating and they get very upset about it because it's a sense of status. And within the group, if you have a good star rating, it's a very important thing. People's image about themselves and the respect. If I look at a franchisee and I see they've got a great star rating, you immediately got a very strong opinion. So it's actually, it's more of a status thing, I think, than anything else.
It definitely hurts our blokes more than most. You can definitely tell all the
It's
time.
become very, very important, and people are very conscious of making clients happy, especially with this new system we've got now, which I started a couple of months back, whereby if you've got a problem with a client, of any problem, but you go and you satisfy the client, I've removed the rating and raised to 5 stars. I do several of those a day, and it's great. I love doing it. I get the information back. Here's the new survey. Here's an exchange of texts. Yeah, they had a problem with the job. Now it's done perfect. They're happy. Bang, 5 stars, no complaint. That's been a great thing because we've got a lot of people going back and fixing things. And I think once they've done that too, they get the habit of mind. Hey, next time, let me do it right the first time.
And have to get a lifelong customer as well out of it for the group. Denise Taylor, hi Jim. Our 12-year-old son is reading your book we got from training, and I commend you for your humbleness. Joining Jim's was the best move of our lives.
Yes.
Love hearing that. New cleaning franchisees, 12-year-old son reading the book, which is awesome to hear.
It's interesting, actually. Stephen Covey, the book I just read about the 7 habits of highly effective people, which is a wonderful, wonderful book. It's so inspiring. Best book I've read all year. But he says the greatest virtue to him is humility. People who are prepared to look at themselves and say, I can do better.
Which is you all the time.
So it's
We've
very
taken
nice.
advice from everyone.
It's very nice for you to say that. I appreciate it.
Then Dave McDonald's, this is for the customer complaint about security. Email Jim. Jim will call Alex, and Alex will get it sorted. Some CCTV jobs are a bit tough, and I've been out many times to fix CCTV issues for customers.
Yeah.
So
if we need to, we'll get somebody else in to have a look at it. But whatever your problem is, it can be solved.
and they're helping out there. Then Wade Aston, hey Jim, have you ever thought about growing your beard back again? Real quickly.
Actually, it'd be different. It'd be white now, I think, because my hair's almost gone white, and it was paler than there. So.
And David McDonald's gone, I have a marketing degree, useless, didn't like working in an office. And then David's gone, Joel is not a pleb. Thanks, David. He thinks you called me a pleb before. The plebs, that was a nice Freudian slip.
I wasn't trying to show contempt for staff. Quite the opposite. I basically say we don't have that kind of people look upon you either a manager or you're a pleb, you're a worker. We don't see that in gyms. Everybody's a staff member and everybody's valued.
Everyone's equal.
We will not make that. I wasn't being derogatory.
Yeah,
I was trying to make the opposite
we're just
point. Sorry, just understand what I meant.
We're just joking.
We don't believe in plebs in gyms. Everybody. And actually, in fact, my staff are quite strikingly dedicated to their work. I'm often struck by the degree of passion and dedication. People care about what they do in this, more than in a lot of companies that I've heard of.
Yeah,
You've got very highly motivated staff, and you can trust people to put so much effort in. I see it all the time.
And our Zors and Zs, exactly the same thing. It goes right down the...
And actually, in fact, even though we talk a lot about service to franchisees and service to franchisors, I also believe service to staff is important.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
I think we try always to look at what staff want. So, for example, Friday lunches, for example, or the fruit boxes that come from Jim's Home Fresh, which were a great success before we got locked down by the crisis. And we're actually setting up a sporting complex, which is partly for the conference centre as a commercial thing, but also it's very much for the sake of staff, keeping the staff happy and healthy and fit. So, look, people who ignore the interests of staff are very foolish.
It's an interesting time for companies. I know companies are feeling it hard at the moment, but if you can keep that employee on during this time, I reckon it's going to pay them back tenfold down the track by maybe keeping people or having them stay around longer or paying their loyalty back where it's been loyal to you.
I know people say this kind of thing, the people who've been with us and gone somewhere else, and they say, well, I get more money, but I miss gyms.
They do, absolutely. That's very true. The grass is not always greener sometimes. Eric Jurgens, I remember complaining that Jim didn't remember me at the start. I was told to give him a jar of Nutella. I wonder if he longs for those days again with all the ribbing that I give him.
I tried it. I'm putting on weight, actually. One of the big problems with this crisis is that I eat my wife's cooking too much, and she cooks too well.
And he's saying, what did you do with the Nutella? Did you eat it?
I'm sure it got eaten.
In 1 year, Eric, you've certainly made an impact in the 1 year with being a great friend of all the stuff we're
I'll
doing.
never forget you again. It's nothing because you put giving 20 comments a week.
Good stuff. And then he's asked, by the way, how Mike's going. Mike's going well. Mike's doing the training this week. Mike is doing fine. Then we've got Helen from one of here, which is, I think, Helen's a Mowing franchisee. I've been in customer service for 25 years. Sorry, guys. Just trying to get up here as well. Got some more questions up here. Just want to get down here. Sorry. We're missing our link tonight to do the questions a lot easier. I've been in customer service 25 plus years, most of that time with Qantas, now with Virgin. I'm always giving away my husband Ray some tips for his Jim's Mowing franchise this week. I encourage him to call some of his regular elderly clients before he goes to their place and ask them if there was anything they needed from the supermarket before going to their place. It's being received very well. The elderly love it.
Yeah, that's great.
And we've heard that from a few franchisees as well, doing that, which is fantastic. Then Wayne's gone here. Hey Jim, which division is the most profitable or has generated the most millionaire franchisees?
Well, mine, obviously, because there's so many of them. But as to in developing millionaires, like I know quite a few franchisees in mowing are turning over, $1 million plus.
There's trees as well. Trees is very lucrative.
Yeah.
Commercial cleaning can be very lucrative.
Look, skip bins can go is a very good earner provided you're busy, which is usually the case. But there's some areas where the competition is tough, going to be very hard. Trees are certainly a very, very good earner. I know fences make a lot of money too. So antennas can make very good money too. So it's some of those. Often the divisions that are with the more casual jobs who actually can make a lot of money, whereas ones with regular clients can be a little bit tougher. But the other thing is with a regular client base, you can actually have workers and build your business, which is what they tend to do. People don't become millionaires by mowing lawns themselves, but if they put workers on and teams on and build customer base.
Landscaping for one's very lucrative. You need to have a team of landscapers. There's heavy much stuff and opportunity.
Yeah. We've got mowing franchisees who don't do any mowing. They just do landscaping jobs.
But pick something you like would be the main advice.
That is always the first thing.
Yeah. The Dave McDonald's gone real quickly. Jim, do you need anything fixed in your house? Again, I might be offering. What do you need around your house fixed? Is there anything? How's your TV reception?
Actually, you know what I really need? I must.
Here we go.
I need a pestie to come and tell me how to get the rats out of my chicken's cage.
Termite and pest control to get rats out of the chicken cage.
Yeah, because I've actually got the little things that you buy, but I think the rats have become wise to them. They don't.
They're very clever. They're very clever.
I think they've learned that stuff's to stay clear of. It cleared them out initially, but now I need to know how to get these rats out because they eat the chicken's food, which really annoys me.
There we go. So what we'll do is we'll leave the questions there for tonight. Thanks for all the questions and comments, guys. They were great. Now we had a couple of requests at the end. One from Eric. He's just done he wanted a joke from you. I don't know if there's a quick joke you can tell.
Well, this is a Mother's Day joke.
Okay, perfect. Perfect timing.
Because it's good.
Happy Mother's Day for everyone.
It's a man who's going into the hardware store, and he's just looking and looking and looking. And the guy, the clerk or whoever, comes up to him and says, "Look, what's the problem?" He said, I can't decide which one to buy, the red wheelbarrow or the green wheelbarrow. I just can't work out the best ones." And the guy says, "What's it for?" And he says, "Well, actually, it's a present for my wife." And the guy says, "Well, will it be a surprise?" And I predict it will be. She's expecting a diamond bracelet.
There we go. It's a nice, short, sharp, very good one there. And then Derek Spice has asked for the evil laugh again. And I reckon we've got to do it for him because he gave that question about the agnostic thing.
Who wants it?
Derek Spice does. Derek.
All right.
So we'll leave it there, guys, on that note. See you next week. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers on Sunday in the Jim's family.
See you later.
It's next week, 7 o'clock. Thanks, guys.